Okay, so anyway, so what we're going to be doing today is whoa, let's see, we're going to unplug that. We're going to be doing what's called linear inequalities today. So we're moving back up to what we're going to do is combine the work that we've done with inequalities, and we're going to apply it not to the number line, but we're going to actually apply it to actual lines. So prior to doing this, Mr. Hawk has a sample problem here, and one of the things that we're going to be doing, going to do a lot of shading, because when we talk about linear inequalities, we're going to talk about points that exist either greater than a line or less than a line. And I know that sounds a little strange. So the first one says, it says shade under the line that has the negative slope. Now that means that you'd need to know what a negative slope looks like. Can anyone? Which one is the negative slope?
The orange one.
What's that? The yellow one. So you guys with your pencils and me with my pen, what you're going to do with this yellow one is the negative slope is also another way to note negative slope is that's the one that would if it fell, which way would it fall? To the left or to the right?
The left.
And which way is left? Is that negative negative or positive? Negative. So if the line falls to the left, that we call that a negative slope. So we're going to shade. It says what? Under it. So I want you to think about under is going to be less than. So in terms of that line, this is going to be the shaded region that we're going to have. All right?
Why?
You do not have to have arrows.
Why just that?
No, why can't you start from the top?
Oh, geez.
Okay, so that's the shaded region for below the negative slope line. What's the other thing? Does it ask? It says what?
Shade above the line that has a positive slope.
Okay, and then obviously the one that has a positive slope is which one?
The one.
The other one, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so you're gonna go ahead and shade above this one. And one thing I want you to notice. What I want you to notice, though, is what is the area? What is the area in which the shaded area is over? Can you guys see what area is the shaded area overlapping?
Quadrant 3.
Quadrant 2.
I'm jumping. 4.
Okay, so we have a line. Okay, we have this line. Let me just go. I can actually. And come on, you. So we have this area in here. It's not working. This area in here is the area that's shaded by both lines. Right?
Uh-huh.
So in a situation where we're looking for a linear inequality, oftentimes we're looking for the solution to two linear inequalities. We're looking for where the two areas overlap. All right? So any point that's inside and any point that's inside here is a solution. All those points that I just drew in there, those are solutions to this linear inequality. So basically we have under the negative slope line, above the positive slope line, that is the linear inequality. The question is, what points work for both of those lines? So if you have the coordinates of this point and you plug it into the equation of that line, it'll work. All right? If you plug it into the other line, it also works. So the solution, how many solutions do we have for a linear inequality like this? A quarter? It's a quarter of the plane, but there's an infinite number of points, right? Any point in that shaded region represents a solution to the system of the system of inequalities. Yes.
If the green line, it's a line, so it goes all the way to the end, why can't you shade? You know what I mean?
You can shade forever. The area becomes.
And why is it only
the area becomes really, really, really big. So let's let me see if I can make that dot. Okay. So, right, it's going to be, this line really goes from here to here,
Yeah.
right? This line really goes from here to
Oh,
here.
I thought you were saying it was only like the top left quadrant that was gonna be the points.
No, so it's going to be this whole area, 1/4 of the
Right,
graph is
right.
going to represent the solutions to it.
Okay.
Okay? So that's the basic idea. The one interesting question comes every once in a while. It's like, well, it's easy to know which way is above a line and which way is below a line, but what happens when the line is vertical? So look at the next one. What do you think less than would be for a vertical line?
To the left.
To the left, it is, and that is correct. So when they say shade to the left of the vertical line, we're talking about, that means less than, right? And what would that look like again? It should be like this. So all the area to the left of that line.
That's less than?
Yep. And that's the whole thing. So one of the things that we do, one of the applications to this is this form of math called linear programming. In linear programming, a person, an economist would be that's working in a factory or a production setting, would use lines that represent different factors in the production of a certain thing that's for sale. And what we can do is we can use linear programming, which is a system of linear inequalities, to try to find what the optimum price is and the optimum output is for those, for whatever object we have. For the most part, factories do a really good job. Sometimes they underestimate or overestimate the amount of people, the number of things that are going to be sold. But, when you think about the iPhone X, there's no way that someone said, hey, let's just make 20,000 of them. No one does that. There's actually mathematical principles behind how they set that production quota and how many they're going to put together. If they make too many, they're going to lose a lot of money. They make too little, they're going to lose out on a lot of money. So there's got to be a way in which they can create a production number and a price that's going to optimize profit. And so that's math. We use math to do that. And Mr. Hawk would like me to try to find a good linear programming problem so you guys could actually see how this stuff works. But let's go ahead to the next page. You guys ready? Why is that?
Because it's just greater than, it's not greater or equal.
How did that happen? Okay. Did not. Did not.
I would have laughed if you did that.
Oh.
He didn't, because did he?
All right, next page. Now, to graph these, we have to, I think the biggest problem with graphing these things is remembering how we graph lines to begin with. And there's also a question about what happens if you look at this. Okay, let's not go too far here. Let's slow down. Let's take a look. It says, I need my eraser. Oh, that's not an eraser. All right, so let's take a look. It says, what we should know and understand. It says that a set of ordered pairs that work in an inequality. Again, if you go to that previous page, anything that's in that double shaded area has points that work for both inequalities. The boundary associated graph when it. All right, I'm gonna have to show you that the associated equation graphed when you replace the inequality with an equal sign. I'll show you what that means in a minute. Graph the inequality as if it were y equals mx plus b form, then shade. Dashes versus solid lines. I don't think these are things that we know and understand yet. Have you guys done this before?
Yes.
You have linear inequalities? Okay. Did you do that in the other class?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and let me just show you a few of the things that what they're talking about. Say that I have a line. I'm just going to do a couple quick things, then we'll just go right to work, all right? If I have a line, and I'll make this a y is greater than 1/2 x plus 2. How do I graph that? Go ahead.
You go to your
y-intercept 2, and then you use the slope to find the other points. Like you go up 1 over 2, like rise over rise.
Okay, well, the first thing we do though is we go to the y-intercept, which in this case is 2, and that's going to be our first dot right here. All right, and then we use the slope to get to the next one. Slope is rise over run, so we're going to rise 1 and run how many?
2.
2, and so we get another point here. So in this case, it says y is greater than 1/2 x plus 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw, and see if you can tell me why. I'm not going to draw a solid line. I'm going to draw a dotted line, a dashed line. And I'm going to shade everything above because it says greater than, right? Does anyone want to conjecture why I used a dashed line? Yes.
Because it's not less, like, bigger than or equal to.
It's not equal to, right? So this is looking for all points, right, that are greater than this line. And we need to have it in y, slope y-intercept form, because typically what we call y is the function. So that when we say greater than, we need to solve it for y, graph it, and then the above is going to be the above, right, where the rain hits. So we use a dashed line when it's only greater than. If it's just going to be greater than. If it's greater than or equal to, we want to include the line in the inequality, in which case we're going to do what? What's it? We'll use a solid line, and that's the same as a filled-in dot. This is like a hollow dot, right? And the filled-in dot would be the straight line. Did you get your coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get the cream? There's cream and sugar in the refrigerator?
No, it's okay. That just dilutes the power.
I guess you're right. Okay. So let's go ahead and try to graph some of these inequalities. Ready? Okay. Why is this not working? Okay, so here we go. Graph the inequality below. What's the first thing we're going to have to do this one?
Plug in a number, like.
Solve it for? Yeah, let's put it in slope y-intercept form. Step 1, Nate.
Go to. Put it in, yeah. You have to minus 3x.
Minus 3x. You want to get the x on the other side, yeah?
Switch the stupid sign, don't you?
Minus 3x.
Yeah. And then you have to multiply everything negative.
So you got minus 2y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 8. And we divide by negative 2 next. Okay, anyone that's confused by that, please stop me, all right? There's a few people that are very good with this slope by intercept form. If you're not, stop me and we can talk about it again. We're going to divide by negative 2. Now, because we're dividing by a negative 2, what is that? What's going to happen? What's the issue?
Divide both by negative 2.
What's that?
Divide both by negative 2.
You have to divide everything by negative 2. So you get y is what? Greater than or equal to.
And 4.
What happened? Why and why?
Because when you divide by negative, in like an inequality, you got to flip the sign.
Okay, so there you go. Whenever we divide or multiply by a negative, we need to make sure that we change the sign. Yes?
So slope intercept form only with except instead of an equal sign, it's just an inequality.
What's that?
It's like slope intercept form only except without an equal sign.
Exactly. And so to graph this, we're going to first graph the line. Now in this case, because it's greater than or equal to, are we going to have a solid line or a dashed line?
We're solid.
Solid line. Okay. So let's try to remember how we do this. All right. We're going to start where? We're going to start at negative 4. That's going to be a point. So you go negative 4 is where it crosses the y-axis. And how do we get to that? How do we get to the next point?
Up 3, rise 3, rise 2.
That's right. All right, we're going to go and we're going to use that slope. 3 over 2, rise 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go over 2. Draw another dot. Rise 3 over 2. You can go on forever and ever. And then, oops, sorry about that. And then we're going to draw a solid line. It's not a very good, not a very good solid line. Why should we not do a dash line?
Why would you like draw a dash line?
When would I draw a dash line? Anyone?
When it's just greater than and it's not greater than or equal to.
Oh, we always did it with solid circles and open circles. What I learned.
Yeah, but now we're graphing, honey.
I know, honey. So, little play practice.
Honey. Okay. So, let me just make this a little bit straighter. Okay, so this is the line. Because it's also equal to... And so... Okay, so let me just show you something, just by way of an example, all right? Let me take a point that's not in the shaded region, all right? And, no, a point, you're going to go, let's go 6, -2. What? Did you say 6, -2, though?
literally just said that.
Oh, I thought you said 6. I thought you said -2.
Maybe we should
Okay, so 6, -2. It's a good point. Let's go ahead and plug that into the inequality. So let's go up here to the top, and I'm going to go y is greater than or equal to 3 halves times 6 minus 4. Sorry about that. I need instead of the y, I should just put the 2, right? So I got the -2. Oh, wrong color. Minus.
You're under highlighting.
I'm under highlighter. Thank you. Dang. Keep me going here, guys. It's like I'm still learning this. -2. Okay. What is 3 halves times 6?
It's 9.
It's 9. So you got -2 bigger than or equal to 9 minus 4. And I got -2 bigger than or equal to 5. Is that true? No. Okay, it's not true. So therefore, that is not a solution. So 6 -2 is not a solution. Got that? Let's tell me where there should be a solution.
Where it's -2, positive.
-2, positive
Okay, -2, positive what?
1.
Positive 1. So -2, positive 1. Let's go ahead and plug in the values for that one. And what do you think's going to happen? Did you guys do it yet?
It's gonna work.
People should know what's coming to them and not
Let me.
feel
Let,
left out.
you, do you hear Kitty? Ugh.
You guys not even gonna watch this. He's gonna be like, all right, Mr. Scheider, I'll watch it.
Yuho, watch. Yuho, email me when you watch this and I'll send it to everybody. Anyway,
Where?
It's screen recording with sound.
Yuho, Tommy. Do you guys know Tommy and Ziggy? Always comes from Ziggy. Yeah, Ziggy. They're in the other class, so they should also be doing this. Okay.
Mommy and Ziggy are the other hockey players.
Yeah, you're right. -2, 1. So -2, 1. Let's go ahead and plug that in. So now we're going to have y is greater than or equal to
You mean -3?
3 halves times -2 minus 4. So 1 is greater than or equal to -3 minus 4. So we already see it. So is 1 greater than or equal to -7?
Yes.
And this is true. So, do you see what's going on here is that the shaded region represents all the true values. All right? The non-shaded region is all the values that don't work. Okay? So, it's a lot of points. It's a lot of points. Let's go to the next one. All right? You guys ready to go to the
Yarbafa.
All right.
I know if he watches this, all you
Okay.
name.
You want to say you can actually say hi. No. Okay, everybody. You look terrible. Hey. Are you guys good? Oh, there's my bald head. Anyway, okay. So anyway, let's stop that silliness. Oh, how do I get rid of this thing? Oh no. So, I don't know how to get rid of it.
What if you press the red button? Let me help you.
I'll press the red button
Yeah,
That's how you start the.
on this thing here. No.
Get it? I think you got it. There's an X on the top. Okay, maybe.
Is there an X on the top? I don't see an X on the top. Let me hold it for a second. Okay. Dang. Okay. All right.
Why don't you just leave it there?
Oh, watch this. I'm gonna go. Okay. I'm putting it up there. Okay. All right. Now what I need to do. What I'm gonna ask. Okay. What's it?
Hell.
Okay. Bye. I'm gonna ask you guys right now. What I'm gonna ask you guys to do is, I want you to graph y minus 2 is less than 3x.
You do plus 2 to both sides.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll ask if you're watching this, pause your video and do this one, and then when you're ready to go, then when you're ready to see how you did, go ahead and unpause.
Mr. Shining,
So
you
pot-
work for Khan Academy.
Bye. All right, so help me with this one more time. So I'm going to solve.
You add 2,
Add 2 to both sides.
so then you have y is
Less than 3x plus 2.
3x plus 2. So to graph this one, now I'm going to go up 2. And then I use the slope. Slope is 3 over 1, so it's rise 3, run 1. So rise 3 over 1, that's going to be my line, right?
Yes. And you're gonna make it
And
dotted.
and what I'm going to do is what? I'm going to make it a dotted line. So okay, all right, dotted line. I'm done. All right, so this is going to be, all right, everyone. Shh. So it's going to be a dotted line. Sorry about that, Landon. Okay, and it's going to be greater than or less than?
less than.
It's going to be less than. All right, there you go. Done. Next. Shh. Okay, and then we have, I think we're on the next page, right? Okay, so you guys. Now, the next question is, okay, let's see. The next question is going to ask us how to algebraically be able to figure out whether or not 3-2 is a solution. What are you doing?
Plug it in.
Okay, so girls. Okay, to figure out whether 3-2 is a solution to the system the system of inequalities, what would I have to do?
You just plug it in.
You just plug it in and see if so. Can you guys do that really quickly?
I already did.
You did it.
Of course.
And is it a solution?
Yes, the first 3 and 2 is a solution.
3 and 2 is a solution. How about 5 and negative 2? Okay.
Why are you picking on this?
So the first one. Okay, so
The first one is 10 minus 2 is greater than
Quit.
1.
all right. So it's 10 minus 2 is greater than 1, which is true. But the next one is going to be 5 minus negative 2, which is going to be 3, which is, wait, that should work.
Can you like 7?
What's that?
It's 5 plus 2.
5 plus 2 is 7, which is not less than 3. So it doesn't work. Any questions on that?
Wait, can you like do it so I can just see how?
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's plug in the 3-2 to the first 2 points. Fionn, are you actually doing anything at all?
I'm really confused. I'm trying to
That's part of like the part of the learning thing is that you actually do what I'm doing. All right, I know it's G block, but you need to do it. You can't just stare at it, or else you're going to be like you are right now. Okay, how do you plug in 3-2 into the first? You have this equation here: 2x plus y is greater than 1.
So you plug in 3 for x and 2 for y because those are your variables.
Okay, so you got 2 times 3 plus Plus what, Fion?
Oh, plus, y.
Two.
Oh, two.
2. Is that greater than 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 6 plus 2, which is 8, and that should be bigger than 1. So that works with that equation.
I mean, your answer is 8.
Sorry about that. Right. Thank you. A little ahead of myself. Okay, so 6 plus 2 is definitely greater than 1. Let's go ahead and plug in 3 and 2 to the next one, Fion.
Okay. So 3 minus 2 is less than or equal to 3.
Nice.
Correct. Is that true?
Yes, that is.
1's less than 3. So that's true. That's true. That means that if we graph these two, that point would be in the double shaded area, right? Now, if you plug in the other point, if you plug in the 5, negative 2, let's go ahead and do that one really quick. 2 times 5,
10 minus 2 is greater
2
than 1.
2 times 5 minus 2, is that greater than 1? That's 10 minus 2, or 8. Is that 8? Is that true?
Yes.
So it solves the first equation, but what happens when we plug it into the second one? It's going to be 5 minus a negative 2, or 5 plus 2 is greater than,
No, less than.
Larry, thank you. Less than or equal to. Oh my God, I have to go home. Anyway, it's going to be less than or equal to, and the answer is 3. Answer in this situation, that is not true. So for a point to be a solution, it has to be, it's like and. It has to work for both the equations. Let's go to, and that's algebraic. How could I have done this graphically? I could have graphed the two, right? And then if the point is in the double shaded region, it's a solution, and if it's not, it's not. Okay. So let's move on to the stuff that you're going to do about homework. All right. Here's actually the two graphs. I need you guys to. Did you graph these two already?
Yeah, I just have a question.
If it's about homework, I'm not going to answer
No,
it.
it's about like the work.
Okay.
So if you forgot to do like the dotted line and you already graphed it and everything, can you just write like dotted and then do an arrow to the line that's supposed to be dotted?
If you do it in pencil,
On the test
if you do it in pencil, just erase every little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So before we finish, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is actually we already know this. We already know this is going to work. I'll go ahead and come back to it. But let's see if we. Let's go ahead and do that. Ready?
It's an x less than or equal to 2. Oh, no, wait, we're doing
Okay. Can you guys? Okay, and Fion, I'm going to actually come over and make sure that you're graphing these two. What are you looking at? Do you have your phone by your lap? Other hand?
No.
You're good? Okay. Then we should be good to go then, I think. Okay.
It's the second time you've embarrassed him in front of you. I don't think he likes it very much.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the whole Yuho thing. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll ask Yuho, Tommy, and Ziggy to go ahead and pause for a moment, and then we can graph these two lines and assess those 2 points, right? All right, did everybody? I'm gonna come around and check. Can you guys show me that you got these 2 lines before you move on? Because it looks like everybody's moving on anyway, right?
I didn't get the 2 lines.
All right. So you got 1 line
No, the other one's covered up by the shading.
by the shading, okay. And Fion?
I did it wrong. I used the points.
All right. That looks good. All right. So I would imagine if you guys can do number 3, I feel like you understand. All right, help her with. Can you help her with the shading? And Julie, you got to do this thing. All right, guys. I don't. All right. So hockey players, I think you guys are done, but we can go ahead and do a few more. I'll do a few more, and I'll try to do the other ones too at this point. If you guys want to do another practice one. wants to do the homework, they can do that. I will post a picture of the homework assignment on my essay. Okay? And yes. So for anyone want to keep working with me, that's fine. But this graph is also the same as x is less than or equal to positive 3. What kind of a line is that, anyone? Vertical line? Through 3, right?
Are you still
And
talking?
it's going to be a solid line. Less than.
Greater than y, so you could shade that side. But you did not shade that side. Okay, but the problem is your answer.
What's that?
Can I take a photo of the homework?
Sure.
So how do you tell where to
All right, that's fine.
highlight it so you know that?
So, ooh. To do this one, y
But now you
is greater than
for this.
negative 5 halves. 5 halves is negative 2.5. And that will be a horizontal line going through 2.5.
No. You watched it too?
Greater than, shade up.
Austin Alley.
Next one.
It's 2 1/4, right?
What's that?
For negative 5 over 2, negative 2 1/4.
Yeah, well, that should be, well, that's negative 2.5, right?
Yeah.
And it's a horizontal line because it's a y equals.
Oh, okay. I see.
All right.
Do we have to complete the packet or can we just go on to the homework?
I would complete the packet.
Okay.
And the last one, minus 3x.
It's going to be minus 2y less than negative 3x plus 6 divided by negative 2. And y is less than 3. Oops, sorry about that. Switch the sign.
How do you? Oh, you add 3.
3 halves x minus 3.
Then it graded to 3. So
Minus 3.
you go through and you start
Up
on
3 over 2. Up 3 over 2. And that will be a dotted line. And greater than. What's that?
We can dismiss like 15 minutes earlier. Is that too early?
Did what?
We can dismiss like 15 minutes earlier. So like 15.
15 minutes earlier?
15, yeah.
15. You mean at quarter past?
Yes.
I might be able to be talked into that if what I'm seeing makes me feel good. So someone help Theon make sure he's doing all right. I didn't have, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't use my dotted lines. I had to go back and make dotted lines. Woo.
Can we get our homework over with and then we can do the packet later?
Wait, why is this not working?
I'm so excited about the Halloween horror night. I feel like my cousin
Okay.
invited me. I'm not going. Never mind. No, like I
No, I was like, I was just
Good job. No,
All right.
I'm just really touchy and salty about
A
that.
dotted line. Okay, next page. All right.
So what are you?
Yes,
Didn't even have to dress up for it.
it's a whole bunch of 1 hour classes. There's we're gonna do 1 hour classes, then then we have an assembly somewhere. I'll find the schedule's online. Go ahead and check and see if it's there. Did anybody you guys graph this thing yet? Say what? You graph it. Okay, x plus y equals 4. It's a whole bunch of graphs, right? Let's change them all to slope y-intercept form. This one's the only one. To rewrite it as y is greater than x plus 4. So let's graph the first one.
Oh, we have to do oral exercises today.
Right. Okay, so let's graph the first one. It's y-intercept of 4, slope of 1, and it's a dotted line, right?
Rise over run is just 1. Oh yeah.
All right. And then the next line is going to be y-intercept of 4 and a slope of -1 over 2. So down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. And again, it's a dotted line. So if you want to just keep going, keep doing the slope thing.
Wait, why do you keep restarting the video?
Am I restarting the video?
Yeah, I mean it's been going on for 2 minutes, and you've been talking for longer than 2 minutes.
No, every page it changes.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not sure how it sounds when you're done, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if they just swap pages or what, but.
Yeah, we'll see.
I can't believe we have to do the oral exercise.
And then and we could go ahead and do the shading too. But, okay, I'll just graph them. And then x is less than or equal to 6. X equals 6 is a vertical line. So it looks like it should, and it's going to be a solid line. So let's graph them all. It says x is less than 6. I'm sorry. The top one, y is greater than x plus 4.
Who's your English teacher? Oh, who's your English teacher?
Y is greater than x plus 4.
Somebody up there?
Oh my goodness, this is not going to work. Y is less than. And y is less than 6. What is the shaded region for this one? Does anyone see the shaded? Did anybody graph the last page, the first one? Still working on it?
I did.
So what did?
Last page, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that
I'm like
one.
working on it.
What's the?
It's the,
You got your pencil out in there.
Are you gonna say that it's this area here?
yeah.
The last one you shade the whole box, right?
So that shaded region there is. It's above the first line, below the second line, and to the left of the third line. Thanks, Katie. I'm gonna graph the last one. This is the last page, right? So rewrite this as y is, sorry about that. Y is less than -x minus 2. Stop being so chatty, everyone. Are you getting this at all, Fion? All right, doing a lot of pen twirling here. Why don't you get the other side of the pencil down on that paper?
That's the third time. You can at least pause the video.
Sorry, Yuho, for embarrassing Fionn.
Or this one,
Sorry. Anyway,
when it says,
I have no idea. It's her fault. It's her fault.
when it says tell whether point P lies above or below line A, I have to graph both, right?
Okay, no.
You have to graph it, yeah?
I have to graph it and then
And then just see.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey, did you guys graph this one here? Hey, shh. Did anybody graph the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to graph it with me?
Sure.
Did you really know how to do x is greater than 0?
Yep. Well, we did
So what
it-
kind of a
we
line-
did it in accelerated.
What kind of a line is that?
It's x is greater than 0 is
Well, what's the x equals 0 line? It's a vertical line going through
0.
x equals 0. So it's this one,
yeah.
Yeah.
right? That's the x equals 0 line. And the y equals 0 line is the x-axis.
Yeah.
So you trying to tell me that it's the
So
whole
it's all
graph?
solutions.
No, because there's another one.
And then there's another line. And if I
negative
rewrote it as y is greater than negative x minus 2.
That's what I got.
So we go go to minus 2 is the y-intercept, and we're gonna go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, and this one is gonna be dotted line, right?
What I did. Yeah. And the shaded region is is between the x-axis line to the right of the dotted line.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. It's the first one is gonna be greater than, so it should be, we're looking at this,
Yep.
and x is greater than 0
So it's
is going to be to the right, to the y-axis, right? Greater than. And then the last one is y is less than 0. So we have this, we have, let me get another color. That isn't another color, we'll go black. So the region in question is going to be,
that little triangle.
it's just going to be, yeah, it's going to be left up. It's going to be this one here, right?
I'm trying to see how it works so I can break it.
Do you guys see my shaded region?
I'm joking.
That's on the video.
Okay. Do you agree with that shaded region?
Yeah.
That was a joke. I don't want to bring anything.
Okay. All right. You want to sign out by saying goodbye to Kitty? I can put you back on the video. All righty. Well, anyway, I'm signing off. This is way too long, but hope this helps.
See you next time. Please subscribe
Bye,
and
all.
like the video, guys.
Go ahead. Can everybody say goodbye to Yuho?
Bye.
And we can only hope that you actually opened this up and looked at it. Bye, buddy boy.